Okay, on the bench today, we're going to be taking apart a 2-speed Ford transmission out of a 1961 Ford Falcon. And I believe the name of this transmission is called a Fordomatic. I actually found some information in an old Chilton book we had on the shelf. On the book, it's dated 1969. So, what's going on with this? Basically, this transmission consists of 2 bands and a clutch pack. A band for reverse. The transmission takes off on a band and then shifts to the clutch pack to second gear, which is high gear. And I believe the problem is it's slipping on the 1-2 shift. So I got from the company in New Jersey, Fasco, that has all this kind of stuff. I got a banner kit from them. I have the band, the low band that it takes off on, and I bought a modulator. So we're going to open this up and see what we find. I know there's the front pump, of course. I believe there's a rear pump. And you got a servo on each side for each band. Kind of resembles almost something like a C4. But, you know, of course, first one for me, and my uncle was here the other day who, you know, was in the business, started with my dad in the 60s, and, you know, he can, no problem. I actually found an old price list from when they first opened it, their first shop in 1966, and this transmission is on there, and I want to just read a couple of prices that they have on their price list, I guess, that they would distribute to the wholesale account. So we're going to take this apart. I have, you know, information in the Chilton book if I need, and we're going to see what we see. So I'm assuming we're going to probably find something maybe with bad clutches, hard seals. I'm not really sure. I didn't drive the car, but they said it was slipping on the shift. So take this apart and I'll keep everything together, and if I need any help I can just make a telephone call and get my uncle down here to help me out. But let's see how the teardown goes. You know, it's a 2-speed. You know, it should be very basic. I believe it has a front pump and a rear pump, and we'll hopefully can take a look at those, see what's going on. But it's really something how these transmission moved along, and you know, it's a 1961 Ford Falcon with a 2-speed Ford. And the other day I serviced a 2019 Camaro with the 10L80 with a 10-speed transmission. So, you know, 61 to 2022, and we're up to 10 speeds already. So I guess we're gonna tear this down and see what we find. Apparently maybe they had tried to service this, because I did want to drain it, and the fluid was like super clean, cherry red. I'm not sure the mileage, but, and you can see there's yellow, orange silicone on the pan, like maybe they try to service it, change the fluid filter, see if that would help. But I don't know, it'd be fun to, I guess, take this thing apart, and again, if I get stuck, I could just make a phone call and get my uncle down here one of these days. No real rush. We have the car here for a little while, but I do have some time. I have the parts, so if I can get a start on it, might as well get it done. So I have here an old price list from 1966. All right, and this transmission is on there. So we got here Fordomatic, Mercomatic, and Cruisomatic. Okay, 59 to 66. So I have a 61. So to overhaul the transmission was $115, and to install it was $40. All right, so we're looking at $155 from start to finish, with a 6-month or 10,000 mile warranty, whichever comes first. So here is from 1966. We were doing some cleaning and we found it. And here's some of the prices here. So this is pretty cool. Now, So it is a 2-speed Ford. Okay, so I guess a common problem with this maybe was no reverse. So a 2-speed Ford, to fix just the no reverse problem, most of the time this stuff can be done in the car. You don't have to take the transmission out. To fix a no reverse problem at a 2-speed Ford, wholesale was $65, retail was $85. And these prices are effective June 15, 1966. All right, now we're getting into the torque flights, which are still around today. You know, I've done these transmissions, the 3-speed, you know, so we got torque flight, aluminum, 6 and 8, $140 to overhaul the transmission, $40 to install it, 180 bucks. Okay, and that was retail. If we're talking on a wholesale basis, it was $125 to overhaul the transmission. Wow. All right, then we're talking like power glides, 2-speed power glides. We got 58 to 62, $110 to overhaul it, $40 to install. Wholesale, $95 to overhaul the transmission. This stuff is pretty cool. So I'm going to definitely keep this here. Complete stock of transmission, 1-day service. Bands and linkage adjustment, retail $11, net, wholesale $6. Oil seals, leaks on all cars, $50. And wholesale $35 for a seal job. So this is it. This is still from 1966. We got this. So this is pretty cool. So, all right. And here is my Chilt manual. And here is a 1969. This is, I remember when back in the 80s, every year Chilt would come around, or every other year Chilt would come around selling, because this is the only thing you could get. And you know, we got some books up there from the 80s and stuff, and then as time went on and the internet started coming into play, everything was on computer, and you would get a series of discs. Like when we first got Shopkey, which is now just, you know, on demand, it's just on the internet. When we first got Shopkey, that was probably in the 90s. We would get like 5 or 6 discs with it, and I guess I don't remember how we deciphered which one we had to put in, but maybe to see like wiring diagrams or something. I don't know if there was an index that we had to look at and then put the correct disc in. So that was you know, back then, probably when computers first started coming out. That's how, and then we went over to discs and did that. But before that, it was just pretty much all the Chilt manuals that we used. So, all right, let's take this thing apart, see what happens. I'm probably gonna just knock the rear seal out, maybe take these side servos out, probably take the extension housing off. I'm not really sure. I believe the rear pump is behind it, but I'm not really sure how all this comes apart. And I'm gonna take after that, I'll take the pump out, and we should have the band and the clutches right here. And then the planet sets like in the middle. But actually, first what we're gonna do, I wanna knock the rear seal out, so I don't have to, once the tail is off, I don't have to worry about that. Actually, what I wanna do first, before I do any of that, is take the pan down, filter and valve body, get that out of the way, and maybe take the adjustment loose on the front band. So, first one for me, but let's see what happens. We'll start disassembling this, and I'll get a little closer. All right, so here is the torque converter I wanted to show you. No cooler lines or anything on this. So here's the torque converter. I guess maybe the air would catch in these fins and keep everything cool. So this is what the converter looks like. You know, neck feels okay. You know, just slipping on the shift, you know, I don't know, maybe we'll find hard seals or something, maybe something with a modulator. But looks like they tried again to change the fluid, because you will see when we get the pan down, the fluid is very, very clean. Okay. So let's just knock this seal out first. I have all my SAE sockets laid out. I'm going to get the modulator out. I have a set of skinny wrenches that I use, but this actually was already kind of loose. And when you take the modulator out, you see you got to make sure if you ever change a modulator, don't forget to swap the pin over. And this also has a washer here. Okay, some of them that are push-in have O-rings, but this has a washer because it's a screw-in. Okay. All right, so you know what? Let's I don't know. I guess we'll zip this tail off and see what we got. I'm honestly not sure myself. This is 9/16. The extension housing, we got a gasket. This here looks like the governor. This is the rear pump. I'm not really sure how this rear pump comes out. But this is going to probably have a check wheel in there to keep it from turning. Alright, let's see if we can get now. Let me get a different pair of pliers. See if we can get. All right, so here are the driven, the drive teeth for the Speedo gear, which is probably on a cable still in the car. All right, so this should slide right out. All right, and here is the governor, which is free, and also the check ball that keeps the governor from spinning. Okay. And this can go on either way, but there is the feed hole right here, so I just got to look at where the feed hole is. All right, so the feed hole is in here, so you just got to make sure you kind of put it in so it lines up with the feed hole here. So it would be just like this. And then go ahead and put this on. No, you know, you could put it on this way, then the hole's going to be blocked. So just make sure you pay attention to that. All right, so this is a rear pump. I could probably take these out, and that would maybe release the rear pump, but I think when you take these out, this will open, this plate will come off. But let's leave that now. I wasn't sure what else I was going to need for this other than my SAE sockets. Okay. All right, so now I guess I can flip this thing up. I didn't want to take this thing out because it's encased and it probably hasn't been touched in 50 years, so no sense in disturbing that. Okay. Let me get a basket here. Put the parts in. Just see if I can get in a little closer. All right. Okay, here's the pan, clean. You know, like I said, I think they probably serviced this. Okay, so here's the filter, linkage. I'm sorry, filter valve body, linkage is here. So, we're gonna take this off. Okay, so the filter, now we gotta take this out. Which will release this. All right, a little bracket for the filter. Small bolt. Maybe I'll just put this back in here so I don't lose it. Okay. Filter. All right, so the valve body is 7/16 bolts, so I'm going to take those out and probably just lift this thing right off. I got into the business about '83, and you know, I was tearing down the C4s and the 350s and the 400s. I really didn't work on too many of these. All right, all 7/16. And we got 3 more here. This here looks like your pressure regulator setup. One more, I'm assuming this valve body will lift right off. All right, so manual valve looks like it's possibly here. Okay. Yeah. All right, here's the valve body. Probably just a couple of valves in there and not much more than that. There's the valve body. All right, so when I put this back, I gotta make sure that we hook up this, I guess something like this kickdown linkage, which I guess would be here. So I've gotta make sure that gets hooked up, along with this here. Fork looks like it's right in the middle. All right, so we got the band with the set of clutches here. There's probably the planet set and the rear band. We got some setup. Look at this here. Okay, I'm gonna take out this front servo, or release the 2 struts. I'm going to take the pump out and slide that out and see what that looks like. The band on the reverse looks like that these struts are, I don't even see any struts, but Oh, there's one obviously here, and there's probably a band anchor. Probably something like that. I'm not sure how that setup's gonna go, but apparently, I think these were able to be, I don't know if they were able to be fixed in the car, or if they actually had to pull these things out. I have to ask my uncle. And here's a line which I'm assuming possibly is for lubrication. You know, looks like a cooler line. All right, you know what? Let me get me a wrench here. There's my 1/2 inch. Okay, you're gonna have a seal here, just like the C4s do, and this thing seems like it's hard as a rock, so I'm sure we're gonna be dealing with hard seals. Let's just take a look real quick. Let's see if we can get this thing off. Well, it's actually not cracking like it's super hard, but okay. Now the piston, here's the piston, here's the return spring, there's a seal here that'll be changed, so that's that. All right, now we're going to take the struts out. So we got one strut. All right, so what I want to do so I don't get these mixed up is I want to take this out. I'm going to make a grind mark on it. Okay, just give me 1 second here so I know what'll go where when I put it back together. Jeez. You know what? Give me 1 second. The thing's not plugged in. Okay. Let's get this one. Here's free. Here's the other. It may be the same. I actually would have to find out. They certainly look the same, but feel better marking it. All right, now let's get the pump. And that also looks 1/2 inch. Okay. All right, there's the pump. It looks like we have a metal gasket. I'm curious to see what comes in the kit. We got a metal gasket here. We have a washer. Okay, there is a you're going to put it right in the middle of this tab here so this washer cannot spin. Okay. All right, so there was a ring that I saw, but I don't know think it was holding it. This sealing ring here, which probably goes into the stator, which it does. So this sealing ring here, all right, now this will come out. Okay. Now we can get the band out. Okay, band looks a little black. I actually have another one, and this actually is a core. They charged me a $50 core because it's a critical core. They get relined. here. So we have a case washer. Let me just bring this down a little bit. Here is the reverse band from here and the planet. A washer here, and we have another ring here like I took off before. For the goes into the rear pump. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this. So I guess this does not come out. I think the only thing that I can do here, I just want to check it out, is I guess take the adjustment out. I'll take a picture of where it is. I'll take the adjustment out and just slide this rod through. Let me look at that in a minute. Let's take a look at these. These are the high clutches. A little burnt hub. Oh, these things are shut. There's two. Look at them. Down in the middle. So there's your problem. Probably gonna have to get, I have to call Fatsco back. I get a couple of steels. So that's that. Here is the big return spring with the piston, snap ring. All right, so let me research that reverse band now. And I'm going to be right back. Okay, so what I got to do here, which is what I figured, but I just wanted to make sure, actually called my uncle. There's a double nut adjustment here that I'm going to loosen up, see if I can slide the band out. And then if I take it off, I can slide this rod out, which will allow me to get the piston out. Now, the only thing is getting this this back in. I'm not really sure how this sits in there. Looks like it maybe anchors against the case and there's one strut possibly that goes in. But whatever, I mean, we'll figure it out. If I have any issues, he can come and help me anyway. All right, so I'm gonna get this thing loose. So I need two 9/16 wrenches. I'm gonna hold this. All right, so first let's see what side is 9. All right, so I'm gonna slide this in here, this in here. Okay. I took a picture of where these adjustments were, but there is a procedure, just like any other band. They want you to turn this thing in and tighten it. I think it was like to maybe 5 foot-pounds or something, and then back it off 2 turns. But I actually took a picture of where the adjustment was. All right, so let's see if we can slide this thing out. Doesn't look like I can, so we're gonna take this out. I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna take this one out. Oops, drop that. The other adjustment, now let me just grab it. Okay. Got this here, which sits against the band. All right, now we're going to slide this out. So put this on so we don't lose anything. Okay. I'm going to slide this piston out because I'm running this through the tank. Okay. And we have possibly a, yeah, we got like a D-ring. All right, so there's the piston, and here is the return spring. Okay, now the band. Okay, so the strut just came. I can see the strut. So what I want to do is get a magnet. Okay. All right, that looks pretty easy. Let me just get it. Okay, here is the strut. This goes into the band. Now this should come out. Okay, so this goes into the bottom part of what holds the band in place in the case, and then the strut goes in here. So, let me give you a close-up shot of this thing here. Let me just zoom in so I can show you. Very weird setup. All right, so the adjustment goes on this part, and the strut goes, let me just turn this around so I can see. The strut goes here, and this is the other part that holds the band. So this whole, all right, so that's it. I don't think this really, I'm sure it can come out like a little freeze-out plug or something, but I'm not taking it out. It's going to stay in there with the linkage. Everything is going to stay in. Band adjustment for the front band. Okay, so the case is stripped. That's really about it. Here's a reverse band, which looks actually good. And again, here is the big plastic set. All right, we have a washer here. And this switch, ring gear, goes on here. And this is what the reverse band rides on. Now too close. Let me back out. Okay, so here's the planet, the one planet, washer again. Got a couple of sealing rings here. And the drum. It'll go on the right there. Okay. So not too bad. I don't want to open the pump yet because I want to wait for my uncle for that. This it's not like your typical pump like we see nowadays. There's like springs, and let me show you a picture of what it looks like. And then he's coming in a couple of days, but I'll see if I can give you a shot of that once it's open. I mean, I just don't know if anything's gonna fall out. Let me just get back to my page. Let me just find my page here, 854. Okay. See, the pump pump looks like this. There's springs, and then there's the backing, and then there's kind of like the rotor. So I guess you want to make sure the springs aren't broken or anything like that. So I'm just gonna, and this is the rear pump. Here's the cover, and this is the front pump, which is the same way. But you know what? I'll take this apart. Let me do that now. Everything should stay in the body. So let's do this. Because I guess it really should be checked. Okay, so this is half inch. Show you what I got from Fatsville. Okay. All right, so that's what it looks like. See, here's the springs are in here. Here's the rotor. That's what the front and rear pump look like. Okay, and we got a couple of rings here, so let me show you what I got. All right, let me just clean some of this oil up here, get rid of these tools. I'm going to show you what I got so far, and then that's it for this two-speed Ford. Give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back. Okay, so here is my, when you need the oldie stuff, that's the place to go. I got everything. All right, now the only thing we don't have, which I'm going to need, are steels. So here's the band, and there is the sticker critical core, because these are relined. So again, $50 core charge on that. Here are the clutches. They sent me, you get like one, there's only 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, they get 5 of them. Nice old looking box. All right, there is the modulator, and it comes with the washer and the overhaul kit. Which I see has rings and seals and everything, but I see it has a paper pump gasket. And this one, I might put this one back. This middle one, maybe I'll put this one back here on the pump, but I'm going to clean all, it's all going to be cleaned up anyway. And that's what I got. Fordomatic. And they also have, pretty cool because they have a picture of the transmission. They have front band adjustments, how to adjust the front band, the rear band adjustment down here. So this is pretty good stuff. So the only thing that I'm missing that I'm gonna need are 2 steels. But you know what? We have an array of things here that might even have them here. So I'm going to look first before I call them back and order them. All right, so just a quick recap. 1961 Ford Falcon, 2-speed Ford, called a Fordomatic. Slipping on the 1-2 shift, and we found the problem. Okay, because there's absolutely nothing left of this clutch. It is down to the metal. Steels too are shot. This clutch, nothing left on this side. Little material on this side. All right, and I'm going to take this drum apart. So, that's it for this Fordomatic. I don't know when this video is going to be up, but if the transmission is done before it's up, I'll just let you know how it worked out. But I don't think we're gonna have any problem here. Everything is pretty cut and dry. I just want to get this thing nice and clean. I'm gonna run this thing through the tank. Want to get it nice and clean, but I'm gonna wait for my uncle. He's coming in a couple of days. Before I wash this up, I just want him to look through the case to make sure I'm not gonna lose anything that I'm not gonna know. All right, so I got some extra footage on this 2-speed Fordomatic. So my uncle came down and kind of went over everything with me. During the teardown video, of course, we split the stator, took the stator off, but I left everything together in the pump because I kind of wanted him to look at it, but you know, it's pretty plain and simple. Here is your rotor, all right, and here's a little recess here. So that gear is gonna face down and it's smooth here on top. All right, then we have these little, I guess, vanes, if you will. You got the spring and you got this piece where the spring fits into, the vane that the spring fits into. And just want to make sure these springs are not broken. So we just kind of depress the spring and put them in here. Slide it right in place. Again, just want to make sure none of the springs were broken. And you know what's funny? We have, I remember, you know, from my father and my uncle being in the business since the 60s, you know, a lot of the old stuff is kept. So we actually have a drawer of 2-speed Ford parts. So if I needed any of these small springs or anything, I actually have them. And you saw the steels were no good. And I got a banner kit, so the banner kit does not come with steels. I found the steels on the shelf with brand new clutches and brand new steels. So I was actually able to put this drum together. And I'm pretty much ready to, ready to go put this thing together. So, all right, so here is the pump. So you just kind of put the rest of them in. I'll put some oil in there, put it back together, make sure the pump turns. And here is the rear pump. All right, so this is how this is set up. So we have 1, 2, 3 with a space, 1, 2 with a space. So I'm gonna put this back exactly the same way. And we want to do the same thing. Now these springs are a little heavier. So what he recommended to do was put a rag over it and then pull it out, or if you had a clean small bucket, put it in a bucket and pull it out so nothing gets lost. So we'll just do this and we're gonna just pull this up. Yeah, these things are, the springs are pretty strong in here, so they flew back and hit me. Okay. So let's take the rotor out. We don't want to lose anything here. Yeah, a piece landed on the ground here. So here is the rotor, and again it has a bevel in there or a step in there, and that's going to face down. And again with these springs, all right. So that's what this setup looks like with these vanes. Want to make sure these look good. Springs are not broken. Okay. 4 and 5. All right, so this all looks good in here. And here is the cover that will go on top when it's back together. And and of course the rotor. So everything is looking good. This gasket, I'm not gonna put back. He doesn't recommend it gets put back. He said use the one that came in the overhaul kit, which is the paper one. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, also, let's get this out of the way. I don't want to lose nothing. Okay, here's the case. I'll just back it out a little bit. All right, nice and clean. You saw what it looked like on the teardown video. I scraped it, washed it in my tank, and this is how it came out. Okay, this here is a bypass hose because this transmission is air-cooled. But he said, you can even disconnect this, run a couple of lines with the cooler if you wanted to and have a cooler, but we're just going to leave everything the way that it comes. All right, so that is some additional footage for this 2-speed Fordomatic on this 1961 Falcon. So once again, I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.